Hello everyone and welcome to this another episode of 2D Fundamentals. My name is Kasanas. Guys, in the last episode, we took a look at the concepts behind the slow in and the slow out. We're going to take a look at that today in spine. Alright, we're going to take a look at those two exercises today in spine. Let's get started. Okay, guys, here we are back in spine, and I am still in the trial version of spine. I actually have the authentic version on my laptop and on my desktop here. I've only got the trial version, so that means I can't save anything that we're doing. I have to redo it every episode. Anyway, guys, so I hope I built this the same way I built that last video last week. I hope I built it the same way. I've got myself the ball center of gravity, which is basically my center point of my ball. I've got my ball attachments underneath it, which is basically the ball itself, and I've got a background. That's all I've got in order to be able to do this video. And what we're trying to do now is we're trying to take a look at slow in and slow out. We're going to take a look at both of those today. The slow in, we want the ball to roll off screen, from off screen onto the screen, stop somewhere on the screen, and we want the entire thing to take about 2 seconds. All right, and it's fairly straightforward and fairly easy to do. We're currently in the setup, so I'm going to go over to animation. Boop, I'm in animation now. And all I really want to do, I want to make sure my ball is starting off screen. So I'm just going to grab my ball. I'm going to grab my center of gravity here, and I'm just going to translate it off screen. So it's going to start somewhere over here. All right, this is perfectly fine. Once again, I've got myself an orange, a nice orange button here, which means I can key it. If you want to use auto key is available right here, and anything you do is going to be recorded. All right, now basically what I want to do, let's say I want to have this thing go across. Let's say I want to have this thing go across for 2 seconds. I want the whole animation to take 2 seconds. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scrub across right here to frame 40. So this, remember, in spine, every 30 frames is 1 second. So I've got about a second and a third. My ball is going to take about a second and a third to roll on. So I'm going to roll this across to, let's say, right here. And once again, I'm going to set my key. Now, that right now is going to give me this animation where I've got this ball moving constantly across the screen. All right, I'm going to scrub across here to 60. I don't like when it does this. Boop. I'm going to scrub across here to 60, and once again, I'm going to set my key. All right, and that gives me my 2-second time frame. In total, there's 2 seconds here. I want to have it go this long. All right, now we've got a little bit of an issue. We've got ourselves a little bit of an issue here. If we take a look at the way that this ball is moving, we want this ball to come and roll to a stop at about 40 frames. All right, and if we take a look at this animation right now, if I hit play right now, we can see this ball is moving at a constant rate. And that's not what we want. We want this ball to slow down as it comes in. It's going to slow into its stop. All right, let me stop that. Now, if you wanted to, you could go through and you could set a number of frames along here saying, okay, it's moving this far, moving this far, moving this far. And if you remember when we talked about it in the last video, when we talked about the theory behind this concept, that's exactly what we did. We animated on 2, so every 2 frames we actually set this up, and we slowed it down using our timing chart. And that's how we did it when we did it manually by hand, basically, in Photoshop. In a package like Spine, we don't have to do that. The Spine has something called the graph editor, and over here we can see it. If I select any one of these frames, what we're going to see along here is what's happening between the frames. So let me see, if I select this first one over here, we're seeing what's happening between this frame and this frame. All right, that's what's across this. That's what's across this graph right here. And this graph is showing a straight line. That is the slope. This is a straight line, and the slope is constant. A constant slope in animation, in any graph editor, a constant slope means you are moving at a constant speed. You are moving at exactly the same speed over time. All right, and we don't want that. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking to have this move at a fast rate and then slow down as it comes into it. So to do that, you can go over here. Right now you can see we're on this linear button. We can click on this one here, all right? And this basically gives us Bezier curve handles. And these Bezier curve handles allow us now to manipulate how this animation is working. If I drag this right now, I drag it up, this is saying that my ball is coming in at a constant rate. Sorry, it's coming in at a rate and it's slowing down over time. So right now, if I go back here and I hit play, we can see the ball slows into its position. All right, and that's kind of what we're looking for. If you want to adjust this so you've got a little bit faster or a little bit slower, it's easy to do. You can hover over the handles themselves and you can drag this, and you can see that as I drag it, the amount of slow in I have is increasing. Okay, so let's say I like this. That looks actually pretty good. If I'm taking a look at this now, that looks pretty good. It's slowing into its position. There's no hard stop. You're trying to avoid that hard, like it's banging into a wall or something like that. We're trying to avoid that. We're having it slow into its position. So as far as the translation goes, that is exactly what we're looking for. The next thing we have to worry about now is the rotation. Our ball is moving the way we want it, but we don't have a rotation at all. This ball is simply sliding in place, and that's not what we're looking for. That's called slippage in animation, when the ball is actually moving across, or sliding when the ball is moving across, or any objects moving across the proper rotation, etc. Okay, or sliding along without actually moving the way we expect it to. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have to go in and add our rotation. Now, once again, we've got that same issue where we can't simply go in, and you'd love to be able to just go in here and say, okay, start at 0, and by this point here, we rotate, let's say 720 or whatever, type that in, and boom, we've got ourselves the magic animation working. That's not how this kind of animation works. That's not how this particular package works. Unfortunately, we can't do that. We can only go maximum of 180 before it goes the opposite direction. All right, so if I'm going around one direction, I can go 179, and if I go 179 down in one direction, it'll rotate the right way. If I type in 181, it'll actually rotate the opposite way. So with that in mind, let's take a look at how I want this to happen now. Let's start off at 0, and we're just going to key it with 0 rotation for now. Let's leave it like that. And all we're going to do is we're going to make some guesstimates here. Remember, we know the circumference of our ball, and every time the ball rotates once, it's going to travel the circumference distance along the floor. And from traveling from here to, let's see where we stopped. Where did we stop? We stopped right about this dark line, and that looks to be about, I don't know, that's only one and a little tiny bit. Not a whole lot. That's one and a little tiny bit. So for now, let's just go here. Let's go to frame 10, and we're going to try and put in a couple of keyframes here. Let's go to frame 10, and at frame 10, I don't know. Let's try 215, 215. All right, and I'm going to key that. Key it. Sorry, I keyed my. I didn't want to key this, and I did. Can I delete this? Can I delete my rotation? I hopefully only have rotation there. Anyway, doesn't really matter. So we can see we're getting some rotation in there. I don't know if that's going to be enough. We'll take a look. Doesn't look too bad. We'll take a look in a minute. All right, let's try sliding across to, let's say, frame, I don't know, let's go halfway between. Let's go to frame 25 maybe. So then it's going to be 15, 15, and we'll slow down over time as we go across this. All right, so at frame 25, let's try, I don't know, 75. I don't know. That's a guess. Key. All right. All right. Let's see. I think this is sliding too much here. That's obviously, you can see a little bit of slide that's happening there. And now at frame 40, when we're actually coming to a stop, I don't know if we want to go 360. Let's put it at 3. You know what? We don't want to go all the way around. We want to continue turning in this direction. So let's try it at, let's say, 350, so we know we're turning in the right direction. Okay, and I'm going to key that. So that is, look how much, see how it's rotating at the end? Now that is once again because we've, sorry, I touched my mic there. That's once again because we have a particular issue. Once again, what's causing that is the fact that we are not slowing down over time. If I take a look at where's that frame? This frame right here, we've got ourselves a constant velocity, and once again, that's not exactly what we want. We don't want a constant. We want this thing to slow down over time. So let's try this right now. Let's add in our boop, our Beziers, and let's give this a slow down over time. And I'm not sure if I want this to be. Let me see here. Let's just take a look at how that looks. Play. So obviously this is not working. We've got a lot of sliding at the beginning, and we've got a lot of sliding at the end. We don't want it to do that. We want to slow down much, much quicker here as we come across. All right, so with this still selected, I'm going to drag this. I'm going to drag it way out like that, and let's see how that looks. Let's see if that's still rotating too heavily. And if it is, we'll have to adjust some of these numbers around. All right, let's hit play here. Yeah, see, we're still getting too much rotation in here. So this number here might even be too much. That 350 might be too much. Let's try that at a smaller number. All right, and now it's going to be just about adjustment. There is no magic here. There's no magic that I can tell you to the exact right numbers, that we should have. Let me key that. I think that's still slipping. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, there's still a lot of slide going on. And that also might be because of this particular angle. Now, once again, we want this angle to come in rather linear. All right, we kind of want it to go in a straight line. Right now, we've got a Bezier that goes like this. Let's have it come in a little straighter and see. I don't want it to slow down. I want it to be kind of a straight line. Let's see how that looks. Let's see if that changes it. No, still a lot of slide. Still a lot of slide in there. So guys, what I'm going to do, I'm going to head off right now rather than keep adjusting this little tiny bits at a time. I'm going to head off. I'm going to adjust this and I'll come back and I'll show you exactly how mine looks. All right, guys, I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I played with it a little bit. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I don't want this video to take forever, and it's not actually about me adjusting the exact numbers. These numbers are going to be different for you guys anyway. So basically, we can see here that we've got a ball. Let me just hit play. We've got a ball that rolls in and rolls to a stop. There's a little bit of sliding going on in this still. I'm not going to worry about it. So we can see the ball rolls to a stop, and it stops rolling at the same time that it stops moving. We don't have it, stop moving quickly or faster than we do have it stop rolling. And you theoretically could do that if I adjusted my slow in so that it was my slow to my translation so that it was slowing down faster than it was slowing down in its roll. Then we'd have a little bit of slide. We do have a little bit of slide going on right about here, but oh well. We could actually adjust that. Even though our keys are in the same location on our timeline, we still could have affected how much we see the translation or rotation occurring on the graph editor. Okay, and we only adjusted the one section of the graph here. I only adjusted the rotation in one section. This last half, I've got to slow in right here. The rest of this is constant, and I kind of took care of that with a, and it's not the best. I kind of took care of that by adjusting the number of rotations that are, or the amount of rotation that's occurring between these different frames. So I took care of that manually. If you wanted to make it more accurate, you obviously could go in and you could add in additional frames. Now, one of the big problems with Spine is this graph editor. I don't like this graph editor at all. The graph editor only allows you to adjust between two keyframes, and that is not awesome. That's not awesome. Every other 3D package out there will, or any 3D package out there will allow you to adjust across an entire timeline, not just between two frames. So basically what I've got, if we take a look at my rotation here, if I take a look at this first key, I've got a constant line, a linear line here, and in reality, I don't want that. I don't want to have a linear line here. I would like to have my slow in beginning at the very beginning here, and I could make some really tiny minor adjustments so it's slowing in and everything is exactly perfect, but I don't want to waste my time doing so. All right, if I take a look at this next frame as well, between these two frames, once again, I've got myself a linear a linear rotation in here, a linear slope. So again, I'm moving at a constant rotation. Not awesome. All right, it's not until I get to this final location here where I actually get my slow in. And like I said, with a normal 3D package, you could do this over the entire thing, so you've got a nice smooth in across the entire rotation of the ball, just like we did with the translation. We actually have, if we take a look at our translation instead, can I grab it? Yeah. Is that my translation? Did I screw something up here? I don't know how to scroll down here. I don't know how come I can't see my actual rotation. Is it? I don't know. I can't see my actual rotation. I shouldn't actually have a frame. Oops. I shouldn't actually have a frame here in my rotation. Unfortunately, I think I do. Anyway, guys, so this is it. This is my approximate numbers. If I take a look at my frame 0, I backed it off, so I'm rotating from 40. I'm rotating to 235 by frame 10. I'm rotating to 70 at frame 25, and I am finishing off at 0 when I finally get to 40. Anyway, guys, that is the slow in. Let's try that same thing now with the slow out. I'm just going to go in here, my animations myself. Right now, this is simply called animation. I can double click on it to bring up the name, and I'm going to call this slow in. All right, and I'm going to say OK. Does it work? Yeah, good, it works. I didn't think it would because of the save. Now, guys, let's take a look at the slow out. I'm once again going to start a brand new animation. To start a brand new animation, I can simply click on animations. I can say new. What do I want to name it? I want to name this one here slow out. All right, we go back whenever we start a new animation. We go back to however we had it set up originally. If we go back to the setup, this is how it looks in setup. And whenever we start a brand new animation, it automatically clicks back into our setup mode. So in this situation, I want the ball to start on screen. Right where it is fine, and I want it to accelerate off screen. All right, so we're going to do it exactly the same way. Let's say that I want it to stay on screen for approximately I don't know. Let's just start it right here. Let's start right here with our translation set and our rotation. Well, we'll do our rotation afterwards. Again, we want it to accelerate outside of the screen, and let's say I want it to accelerate up until frame 40, and then we have a couple of frames of nothing on the screen. So once again, I'm simply going to drag it for my rotation. I'm going to drag my ball off the screen right here, and I'm going to hit bam, I'm going to hit my translation. So I've got myself a translation between these 2 points. I'm going to grab this thing here. I can see my graph editor on here. I can see how it's moving. And once again, I don't want it to be like this. Now, this time it's going to be the opposite. I'm going to hit my Bezier curves, and I'm going to have it accelerate as it leaves. So what we're doing here is we've got a slow out. It's moving out of its position and zooming into its quicker position. Let's take a look at how that looks. If I hit play, all right, and if I want to go even faster, I can, but that's probably fine. That's probably fine. Sorry about that. That's probably perfectly fine. If we want to leave it like this, we can. We could adjust this a little bit more if we wanted to. Go away. Go away. I forgot to log out of Skype. Anyway, let's move this a little faster so it's going a little quicker. All right, so we've got ourselves a nice, oh my God, okay here. We have ourselves a nice slow out of the position and very quickly into our maximum speed. Okay, so that's great. We're going to do exactly the same thing now. Let's just stop this. We'll do exactly the same thing that we did before with our rotation. We're going to go back and we're going to redo our rotation. All right. So once again with our rotation, it's going to simply be a guess. All right, we're starting off here at 0, and we want to rotate very, very slowly over a certain amount of time. We don't want to do it at 10 this time. Last time we went to 10. Let's give it to 15 this time, and we're going to actually have smaller increments as we move forward. All right, so let's try it at frame 15, and once again, guys, I'm guessing. I have no idea. Let's try this at 310. All right, and I'm going to key this. And this should have been keyed at 0. I didn't key it at 0. Let's key this at 0. All right. So we can see we've got a slow start to our ball moving. It's obviously not going to be enough. We're going to have to take a look at improving that as we move forward. All right, we've got a linear startup, and we're not going to want to have a linear startup. We're going to adjust that as we move forward, or it should be adjusted across the entire thing. Let's move across to, let's say, 10 frames further to, let's say, frame, I don't know, 25. And at frame 25, let's have a little more rotation. Let's put it at 240. Simply a guess, 240, and I'm going to key it. All right, so again, now we've got a little bit more rotation as we move forward. This is clearly not going to be enough in here. Let's go across to, let's say, we're speeding up now, so let's go across to 35. Let's go across to 35, I guess, for now, and let's give it a little more rotation. Let's try it at, I don't know, 110 maybe, 110. All right, and let's key it. So we've got ourselves a little more rotation occurring there, a little more rotation. And lastly, by the time we hit frame 40, we're going to want to be moving at a relatively quick rate. Let's try it at, I don't know. It's moving really fast now. Let's try it at, I don't know. Let's try it at 0. I don't know if that's going to work or not. Let's key that. All right, and let's take a look. So right now, if I scrub this, we can see that we're dragging a little bit in here, and we don't want to drag in here, so I'm going to need more rotation at one end or the other. I can either adjust the beginning or the end. Let's just add a little bit of ball. Well, you know what? Let's say that this ball's starting on screen, so we're not going to adjust our first position. Let's say we want to start off at 0. Let's give it a little bit more rotation here. So let's try it at 300 and key that. Still dragging, so let's put it at, let's say, 290, and we'll key this. Now we could go through and we can adjust the slope, and we probably should be adjusting the slope here. That might be the easier way to do it, because right now I'll just key it for now and see. So we're starting to speed up a little bit here. If we wanted to, right here, I could, with this selected, I've got my rotation selected. I could go in and I could key my slope. And once again, we want this thing to be getting up to speed. So let's just try it. Let's just try it like this. So we have a slow start, and it's rolling a little bit faster. Let's give it a little bit more speed to start off with. Maybe if we could also change that slope by adjusting this a little bit. All right, let's drag it back, and let's take a look. All right, that's getting better already. That's getting better already. Now, once again, guys, I'm just going to simply go, adjust it, and come back and show you the results. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I've adjusted this a little bit. Again, I didn't take a whole lot of time doing so. Once again, I left. If I just take a look at my rotation here, I've got myself a Bezier spline curve that I've adjusted here. The other ones I did not bother adjusting. I did my adjustments through physical numbers that I've added in. Let's just take a quick look at it. And you know what? I'm not sure if this plays properly. I can't remember now if the last time I had to just not show this part. If I did, I'm sorry. I'll have to put up the actual finished product up here instead. Anyway, guys, so if we take a look down here at the bottom now, what I've got is I started my rotation at 0. I assumed that because I was on screen, I couldn't adjust this one here this time. I couldn't adjust it. I could adjust the endpoints that were off screen, that's fine, but the ball had to start off at this particular rotation. I did so because if you were making a film or something like that, and you actually had a character in a particular position in the frame in this sequence before, you obviously, when you cut across, you wouldn't want this to have jumped to some other location or some other position. So I'm going to leave this at 0. That's what I started off at. I added in, as we take a look here, I added in a nice smooth curve, a nice slow out of my position into frame 15. At frame 15, I have my rotation at 290. At frame 25, I have my rotation at 200. At frame 45, I went all the way down to 80, and I went to 350, so more than past the 0 point as I accelerated through frame 40. All right, and that gives me a decent result. Again, there's some slippage in here, but it doesn't look too bad. I could adjust a little bit, but for the amount of time I actually spent on it, it doesn't look too bad. All right, guys, so that is the concept of slow in and slow out here in Spine. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, let me know down below. Let me know what you guys think of Spine. Like I said, it's got a couple of rough spots. I don't love the graph editor, that's for sure. I really hope that they give us an adjustment for the graph editor over time, over the entire length of our timeline rather than just between two keyframes. I don't like that at all. But if you guys do, let me know down below. All right, guys. I've also picked up a second version of something called Spriter. It was recently on sale on Steam for 30 bucks. I bought it, and then awesomely, it went on sale for $1 or whatever you want to pay in the Humble Bundle. So, anyway, guys, if you guys picked up Spriter, I might do some videos with Spriter and do a comparison between Spine and Spriter. They both do similar things. Obviously, this version is $66 if you buy the version that does not actually have some of the functionality you might like. If you buy Spine, it might not have all the functionality you want for $66. But for $299, I think it is, you can buy the full version of Spine. Now, from what I've read, Spine is far more user-friendly. I have not started playing with Spriter yet. I won't do so until I'm finished these videos with Spine. All right, guys. Anyway, I hope you liked it. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments down below. And if you haven't done so, please take a few seconds to subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everyone.